of course, a recurring message that comes through as a thread for almost every channeling is something that's designed to bring us back to our true essence, which is love, that we are actually here to get closer to divine love, which is what we are. It's what we're made of. We just have learned many, many ways to mask it, to separate from it, to disconnect. And coming back, it's kind of like we're in this great big unlearning. And that's what the guides really want to support us in. Really start to question what you have, what you believe to be true, because it may not be anymore. It may not fit who you are, who you're becoming, and see what else is there.
Life is but a dream. Life is but a dream. Life is but a dream. Yeah. Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to the Praise the Sun podcast, where I'm honored to have on my guest, Stephanie Banks. How are you, Stephanie?
I am well, Sage. I'm happy to be here with you.
Awesome. I'm absolutely happy to have you here as well. I first came across you many, many years ago, so it's been a full circle for me. It's an absolute wonderful pleasure to have you on and finally get to communicate with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, yes. So for my audience who is not so familiar with you, could you give us an introduction into your background and how you got to where you are now?
Sure. Right now, what I do is I am a professional intuitive channel, and I channel for clients. I also teach people how to channel for themselves. In my professional background, however, prior to that, I've been a speech language pathologist. I have had over 20 years of experience working in clinical and hospital settings. And I've also I've worked as a lactation consultant, an infant massage instructor, a childbirth educator, all things babies, families, and communication. But the way I found myself in the role as a channeler is my mother had dementia, and I needed to figure out how I could stay connected to her through her dementia while she was losing her abilities to communicate. That sort of transcended traditional verbal communication. And that is how I found my way to channeling. I had a best friend at the time who would channel my mom's soul for me and help me sort out what I was here as a soul in relationship to her to do, how to support her, how to have a healthy as possible relationship with her while she was losing her abilities and faculties. And it changed my life so much that I decided I really need to learn how to do this for myself. And now I teach others how to do the same.
Awesome. Wow. So you've very much been on the human connection aspect of things for quite a long time.
Yes.
Wow. So the primary thing you do right now is still working with people, teaching them how to channel. Is that the only thing you do?
Yeah, I channel as in I take clients and I channel their messages for them. And I also teach classes so that people can learn how to do this for themselves. Because if I can learn to do it, anybody can learn to do it.
Yes, yes. I love that. That is absolutely true. Wow. So from your perspective, what exactly is channeling? Like what is that thing that, that connects us? What is channeling?
Yeah, channeling for me is just connecting to divine energy and wisdom. And there are countless ways that we do it. Artists are channeling through their art, and writers are channeling through their writing, and musicians are channeling through their music. The way that I channel is through language. It's my primary passion, I suppose. That's what probably drew me to the field of speech pathology. And so when I tune into spirit, I am asking for information or guidance or insight about particular things. And it's coming through in words, language, imagery, a depth of understanding, sometimes like movies and things like that that I will see. And I'm able to help my clients make sense of that, utilize that for their lives, their personal lives, their professional lives, their internal lives. And so that's how I describe it.
Yes, that's a great explanation for it. Um, I've had this theory that I've been kind of, I guess, researching is that and I wanted to run it past you. Is channeling more in line for like people who are like in a sports profession, kind of like the flow state,
Mm.
where everything's just like in an alignment. They don't need to think. They just, they're in that state of being
I
where
think
things are just
so.
flowing. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a brilliant analogy too, because a lot of us can connect to that. I used to ride horses, and when I was younger, and sometimes me and that beautiful equine being would get into sync with each other and just float practically around the ring and over the jumps, and that felt like a channeled experience for me. But yes, being in the zone, being in flow, these are all ways to present ourselves as open and receptive to spirit and to receiving communication.
Yes, I love that. That was a great analogy. I was recently talking to my mentor because he was asking me how do I get clarity, and I very much think of it as a channeling kind of aspect, and that anytime I don't have clarity, I feel like I'm not in alignment with my higher being or inner self or something like that. And the best way for me to get in alignment is to just kind of center myself, do some breathing, or even meditate. But yeah, I feel like that's me just trying to get back into that natural flow of that's carrying me through life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sometimes works, and I often find that silliness can work too. Right?
Yes.
Being playful, because we can really get so serious about, I must get into this state, so I must meditate harder. Well, I don't know. Is there a way to meditate harder? And do we really want to do that? That doesn't sound attractive to me. But if we can get playful and joyful and do the things that bring us levity, then and silliness, then I find that that brings me into a state of flow.
Yes, I love that. I feel like we as a human collective need to talk about that more because life has been created to be so serious here, and that just it takes us out of that fun that life is about. Like,
Yeah. And when
yeah,
I look at you, Sage, I only see joy. It's like pouring out of you. It's
thank you.
amazing. It's making me really happy. So, yeah, I feel like that's what you're all about.
Thank you. I'm really I was having a really aligned day. Like I feel like things are just kind of the puzzle pieces are aligning and I'm just like I'm in flow state.
Yeah.
I'm in flow state.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it's like coming through in the
Yeah.
video because
Thanks for
I'm
bringing
feeling
that.
it.
I will ride that wave with you.
Yes, yes, yes. I love it. I love it. So as we tap into that laughter, that joy, why is it that kind of frequency puts us in that state of being where we can get into the channel state or flow state more? Why what is it about that frequency of laughter, joy, and fun that gets us in that state of being?
I would guess that's our purpose for being here, honestly. And people might not agree with that. But I really do think we came here to have fun. That might be a very new concept, because I'm a hard worker too, and I can definitely fall into that pattern of taking myself way too seriously. But in general, things go a lot better when I'm having a great time and when I'm surrounding myself with people who are also in their joy. So I think that's why it works better. It's our more truthful, essential nature is to be joyful beings. Not to say we don't have hardships and we don't have to sort things out. And of course, all of us have our own challenges, some more so than others. But we all also have the capacity for great joy and fun and effervescence. And I think we naturally lean in that direction, seeking that if we're given the opportunity.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree, and that's something I've came to the conclusion of this year myself is that we really are here to have fun, and honestly, it was really liberating for my soul. Honestly, like I think that is one of the main contributing factors towards me getting more in line with that flow state. Is just me like, hey man, we're just here to have fun. So let's just you know times some things may be hard. I might have
Mhm.
challenges, but that's a part of the fun journey as well. That's something that's a problem for me to solve. That's a challenge for me to solve. But it doesn't have to be something that drains me, bring me down, weigh my soul down. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that way.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
and when people see you in your joy, it is contagious, it is infectious, and it also gives permission for others to dabble in that for themselves.
Yes, yes, yes. I just told someone this yesterday that love is infectious. Like a
Mhm.
smile is infectious, and I always do my best to just give love to people. You know, like earlier this week, I gave some love to the guy at the counter. He seemed kind of down, and I was like, you know what, you look really good today, man. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. And he said, he lit up. He just
Yes.
lit up, you know. And he
Yes.
was so happy to say bye to me when I was leaving as well. He made sure he smiled. So it's just like you never know. The smallest act of kindness can be such a great big deal to somebody. So just give love.
Absolutely. Yes. It's
Yes.
easy to do and it actually pumps us up as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, exactly. Wow. What are some of the ways that channeling has changed your life?
Mm. There's not a way that it hasn't. It's
Mm,
across the board. There aren't any relationships that I have that have not been touched by my channeling. So I have some friends, lifelong friends, that when I started channeling got really excited and said, "Oh my gosh, can you channel this for me? Can you channel that for me? Can you come into my business and channel for my employees and channel for my clients?" So it's really deepened and enhanced in that way many of my friendships. And then there have been maybe a couple friendships that um, didn't thrive within that kind of growth that I was doing because maybe there just wasn't space for that, or there was a little fear around it. People do have fear sometimes if they have grown up in certain religious upbringings or teachings that have nurtured fear around spiritual connection that does not come through, a particularly appointed spiritual leader. So I've had some friendships that maybe haven't grown as much as they could have because that piece is there. And certainly there have been relationships that have, I would say, just kind of spun off because there wasn't space for me in the growth of my spirituality in that way. So my marriage is an example of that. I'm no longer within that relationship. So everything, it's touched everything. And then, the relationship with my mother, who was really the one that started me wanting to learn to channel for myself, she's now on the other side and we're good. We have a great relationship now. It's totally uncomplicated, unless I go to my mind and I start complicating it. But it's not based on her because she's free and accessible and available. But while she was in body, channeling changed my connection with her because I could understand better from her soul what she needed from me, what I'd agreed to do for her, how to maintain healthier and clearer boundaries for myself, how to nurture my relationship to my own soul, my higher self, which it is an ongoing, profound journey and experience. There's nothing it hasn't touched in my life. It has enriched everything and shown me possibilities where I never saw them before.
wow, beautifully said. Yeah. I feel like the thing that I've heard the most often from people who've had these transformative experiences has been their relationships changing, whether it be a marriage ending or a partnership ending. That's very much what I hear quite often is that that old version of them, it doesn't exist anymore. They can't be in alignment with it. So they're, everything around them has to change. How do we guide people through that change when they're having that spiritual awakening and they're becoming someone completely different from who they were? How do we guide them into like having the courage to let go of that old version of themselves, including the people and things around them, which may be
Mm.
difficult?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think walking with people is the most effective. It's not really about what I say or what I teach or giving them like a list of next steps, although oftentimes in the channeled messages from their own guides or from their higher self, that will come through. But I think on a personal level, we can do the most good by just being there and listening. We very few of us are great listeners. I'm working on it myself as well because there's always room for improvement. But we tend to want to fill space with our voice and our words, and even as you're talking and you're leading into your next question, there's a part of my brain that's like, okay, he might say this. Are you prepared for that? He might say this. It might go in this direction. Are we ready? And so it's a natural part of what we have learned in order to be prepared, or in order to sound articulate or intelligent or whatever is important to us. And so I think if we can practice letting go of that and dropping into full presence and really listening for what's there, and doing, being a better listener. And sometimes when someone is going through their own internal transformation, that's all they need.
Yeah, yeah, it's creating the space. That's all they need. Hmm. Um, so back to the, I guess, the nuances of channeling. Are there, from your understanding, any certain brainwave frequencies that are kind of like more curates that experience more? If you know, if not, it's
I have no
okay.
idea.
Okay. Yeah. No worries.
I'm not, I mean, I know a bit of the science of meditation and alpha waves and, beta waves and things of that nature, but not enough to talk about it with any level of expertise. So if it feels good, you're probably doing it right.
Yes, exactly. I love that. Yes. Okay, no worries. I'm always just kind of jotting notes in about brainwave frequencies and stuff because I guess it appeals more to the that analytical side of people who
Yeah.
like to put those two things together. So
Yeah. So then you share. I'm always open to learn. What have you come to understand about the brainwave frequencies as it relates to channeling?
I think what I've researched the most has really been a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
he talks a lot about frequencies and stuff like that. And it seems like going into the more relaxed state of theta has been the consistent pattern of which I've seen, and I think that's in alignment with it being you're open to more suggestibility. Your frontal lobe is more relaxed, so you're less analytical about things. So information flows through you naturally, and you can speak on it more without analyzing if this is correct or if that's not correct. So that's, I guess, what I've seen the most. But I mean, that's just what his research has said. I was just always asking people what they might think.
Yeah, no, he's a great one for that type of information, and also for his meditations because he creates the opportunity to enter into that brainwave state.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been really into to the aspects that create change within people because I
Mhm.
feel like that seems to be a reoccurring thing that I've seen, at least, that people just kind of struggle with becoming that new person that they want to be, and what are the steps to enter that new being. Some
Mhm.
people just flow into it naturally. That's just the natural course of the evolution of your soul,
Mhm.
but not always so gracefully for some other people.
Yeah.
So
And maybe
yeah,
that's meant to be too, right? Like some of us
yeah,
are here to bounce around a bit more, and it might look on the outside like really uncomfortable. Boy, I don't think you need to do it that way, but maybe they do.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Are there any specific beings that you channel when you do channel?
I channel whoever we want to hear from. So we can ask to hear from any soul that's here on the planet right now, which a lot of people get really excited about, myself included. That means that I can channel your children if they're living. I can channel your spouse, your partner, your boss, your family member, your friend. There's a lot of, we do our greatest growth in our relationships, I believe. So people really do like to hear from the higher self of their romantic partner, learn a little bit more about what they're here to do together, how they can be of support to them. And then, of course, I also channel souls that are on the other side, so ancestors and loved ones that are no longer in their physicality. I channel spirit guides. All of us have a vast network of loving beings surrounding us all the time and every moment. And we don't always remember to ask for their support or their insights or their joy. And so we can channel from the perspective of spirit guides. And I also love channeling animals, land, and trees. The natural world is speaking to us constantly, and she really needs us to start listening.
Yes, that yeah, it would be a very great deal if we as a species could listen to the planet more and clean up the planet more and pollute a lot less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
we must. We Many of us are, and I'm a tree hugger, so when I'm
Yes.
hiking, I now have the courage to just grab a tree and hang on and hug it and place my heart against it and listen and speak to it. And I have found more often that other hikers walking by me will be like, "Oh, good, you're doing that too," or "Oh, I always want to do that, but I haven't had this. I don't want people thinking I'm crazy, so take a risk, hug a tree. You won't regret it."
That's a shirt. I love
Yeah.
that. That's a shirt. Take a risk, hug a tree. Oh my God, that's a shirt. Beautiful. You heard it here first, audience. Take a risk, hug a tree. I love it. I love it. I love it. But that's true because that goes back to what we said earlier, is that love is infectious. So, people are more likely to feel safer to express what's probably already in their heart that they want to do,
Yeah.
just to feel the courage.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I always love explaining to people like you don't have to underestimate your worth, your value, and your impact as one individual. Like one individual could do a great deal of change for the entire planet. All it takes is that one person and to lead by example, be the change that you want to see in the world. So if you want more people to hug trees,
Yeah.
be that change.
That's
Record you hugging trees. People were like, you know what? I'm gonna go hug a tree today too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please do. I mean, and
Yes.
they'll speak to you and they'll speak through your heart and they will show you and they will support you and send love to you and illuminate what's your role. I think we're all here to play a role here in the regeneration of the planet and in the support of humanity returning to their true loving essence. And we have this, I mean, that's what we're here for now, I believe. Look at what's happening and look at the time our souls chose to be incarnate, to be in body. It's not for nothing. I know that I have a very strong desire and my soul's purpose is here to replenish and regenerate the planet in many, many ways. And it comes through me recognizing what breaks my heart, and what breaks my heart is deforestation. And what breaks my heart is animal cruelty. And what breaks my heart is the homeless, situation and social justice issues. So I could go in any number of directions. Neither one is more important than the other. They're all equally important. But everything I do in service to something that breaks my heart, that's part of the solution, that's part of the world that my heart knows is possible, is in service to my soul's purpose here. And that's one of the big questions that people often ask me is, can you channel what my soul's purpose is? But we can do that for ourselves. Just find the thing that is unacceptable to you about what's happening now on the planet with humanity, with human behavior, and serve into the solution of that. You don't have to come up with the solution, thankfully. The solutions are already created. We just need to step into them.
Exactly. Yes. Well said. I love that. Well said. Um, when you first began to channel, was there any certain beings or entities that came through that kind of paved the way? Or
It was really my mom, essentially. Like that was my mom, my higher self. I don't channel if a client is really deep into their spiritual journey and they say, "Can you channel this entity or this energy or this circle of beings?" Of course, I will. I don't have to know it or understand it to be able to open to it and channel it. But the way that I channel is on request, and so whatever soul we're asking for guidance from is the one I will channel. And so far, there have been no limits on that. Every once in a while, very, very rarely, I might tune into channel a soul that doesn't wish to come through. And if that is the case, they will provide guides on their behalf. So I'll just tell my client, well, it's not going to be Great Aunt Trudy that comes through right now, but there are guides here that will speak on her behalf, and you will still get what you need from the message.
That makes sense. Are there any group of beings that kind of have a reoccurring message anytime you connect with them for people?
Um, Not in terms of a recurring group of beings, because it's so independent, so dependent on my clients' requests. And usually people want to hear from their higher self, or their own guides. But of course, a recurring message that comes through as a thread for almost every channeling is something that's designed to bring us back to our true essence, which is love, that we are actually here to get closer to divine love, which is what we are. It's what we're made of. We just have learned many, many ways to mask it, to separate from it, to disconnect. And coming back, it's kind of like we're in this great big unlearning. And that's what the guides really want to support us in. Really start to question what you have, what you believe to be true, because it may not be anymore. It may not fit who you are, who you're becoming, and see what else is there. So the global message is always how we can come back to a more loving presence, and how we can transcend limiting beliefs and presumptions that we have never questioned before.
Hmm. Yeah, the great unlearning.
Mhm.
Yeah, the environment certainly indoctrinate us into a lot of limiting belief systems that create further separation from our fellow human beings. So that does seem to be the case of when you get more into spirituality and have that awakening, you just want to experience more love and give more love to people.
Yeah, we're really nurtured in a culture of competition. So, and
Yes,
that will always lead to separation.
always. Are there, from your experience, are there civilizations that don't experience that? Or
The indigenous people,
that's true.
that I have learned a lot. I went to the Amazon rainforest in 2019 on a beautiful group, with women who were there simply to go and listen to the women of the Amazon, and be in sisterhood with them and listen to their stories, and hold, you know awareness and love, and witness really them in their journeys and in their stories. And I'm still unpacking a lot of what I have gained from that particular trip, because it changed me completely. In fact, I think within a year was when I began my uncoupling, process from my marriage. But and this is not to say don't go to the Amazon, because then you'll get divorced. That's not that's not going to be the case for everyone. But what I learned from the indigenous people there, and what I continue to learn from what I read and what I study, and I support an organization called the Pachamama Alliance, and they actually are partnered with the indigenous people of the Amazon to protect that land and those sacred waters from exploitation. And the indigenous know how to live in harmony with nature. They study the patterns, of nature, and they know which plants are going to be supportive of, other plants, and which systems need, the flow of water in a certain way. They know how to honor the sacredness of all life and the interbeingness. And they recognize humans as just a part of that tapestry, not dominant, which I think is very refreshing, because I don't believe we are here to dominate in any way. So when I look for wisdom of the land, that those are the people, the embodied people that my preference is to learn from, are those who have been living in that way, studying this, living in harmony, and teaching. We just haven't been open to learning from them. Most of us have not. And look where that's gotten us.
Look where that has gotten us. Very much true. Was this Peru that you went to?
It was the Ecuadorian
Okay.
Amazon where I went. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And they just kind of live in harmony with nature and communicate with it.
Yeah,
Wow.
they never They don't take more than what they need.
Mm,
They grow, their own foods that would naturally, thrive there. They
yeah.
take care of each other in community. If somebody in the Indigenous community like does take more or hoard or steal, like they see that as a mental illness and they work on healing that. They
Wow.
do not push that person outside of the tribe and deem them bad or evil. They see that as a something that needs healing, and they have healers for that.
That that's incredible.
Yeah.
I, wow. To even think that they have that level of awareness to see it that way is just phenomenal. That's something that I wish could happen in America, you know?
Yeah.
It's because that really like the need to hoard and greed and all these levels of awareness and consciousness that are created through capitalism is a illness. You know,
Yes.
you shouldn't want to hoard things and keep it from other people, and the 1% shouldn't hold all of the wealth or most of the world's wealth and resources, and it's just not right. Like it's those are the fundamental issues with why we are the way we are and how difficult it is for us to progress as a species. It's
Yes.
those people keeping the clamp on us, and it's not right. So it's really refreshing to hear that there are, civilizations that live like that have cultivated connection with each other like that. And
Yeah.
if it's possible there, it's possible here. We just need the people and institutions and love to nurture that sense of self within people so we can create that change and have people say, I don't want to live this way anymore. This isn't how we should be living, and to never give up voicing that opinion.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we're meant to live in care for each other and in community. That's when
Yeah.
we thrive. Just think about how you felt when you shared that story about telling the person in the store. You were
Yeah.
caring for their heart, their spirit in that moment just by giving that beautiful compliment and really truly seeing them in that moment. That's how we thrive.
Yeah.
And I get a kick. I grow food in my backyard, and when I have abundance, which is a lot, I get the biggest kick out of giving my neighbors bananas or sharing the papayas that are growing, or just there's something very um, it's inherent in all of us, I think, the desire towards generosity and towards sharing. And I like to feed people. Other people like to do it differently. But we can thrive in this. And if we unlearn what the falsehoods that we've been told that we presume to be true, and that have created this situation with mass incarceration. And I mean, we could go on and on about all the issues, but if we're willing to question it and go deeper and go beyond and really partner with the groups that already exist, that are already in this, I don't want to call it a fight because that's not the word for it, but that are willing to put themselves out there for the better world that we know is possible for us, align with them. You're not alone here. There's already groups, already people who are doing exactly what you see is necessary to be done. So join up. This is the community aspect of it that we need.
Yes. This is it. Yes. This is absolutely it. When you see and think of the future, how do you feel about that? Are you really optimistic, or how do you feel that way emotionally?
Yeah, it depends on the day and how much I've been scrolling.
Yeah.
So, on a
Yeah.
good day when I am not scrolling, I know, my heart knows that there is, it's limitless what we can create here together. And um, my job, I feel like, is to keep bringing myself back to that space and that knowing, and continue to ask, what is the one thing now in this moment that I can do in service to the more beautiful world that my heart knows is possible. And it's also crucial that we consume work and information that is nurturing and supportive towards that. So, who are you reading? Who are you following? What groups are you supporting? And by the way, when I say supporting, just watching what they're doing on social media, that's a form of support. Liking something, et cetera. That's how you're supporting. So instead of getting riled up and fired up and fighting against something, become more what a beautiful mentor and genius that I follow, Lynn Twist, says is a proactivist. Find what you stand for and then move into that, promote that, find the others who are further in that work. So that's how, when I do that, that is self-care for me. That's how I know I'm giving myself the best opportunity to be in alignment and in service and feel fulfilled. And that's how I want to feel. And when I'm off, then I'm getting upset about the state of politics. I'm getting upset about the state of the ecological collapse, the economy, all the things that is causing so much suffering that human behavior is creating as the suffering. And that gets me nowhere. Those days, I might as well go back to bed because that it will suck all the energy from me. So that's my job, is to find what nurtures me and what activates me in the positive way and keep going.
Yeah, I agree with that one. It's very much contingent upon what I'm seeing on the
Yeah.
feed and how that affects my mental state. I definitely had a question about that. Is that a thing that's okay? Like, should we expose ourselves to what's actually happening in the world, or should we kind of inward and just work on ourselves and just post on social media to give back? Like, I always question, like,
Yeah.
is it is it beneficial to know what's happening in the world, or should we just focus on the inner work and giving back to people and stuff like that? Because it can affect your mental health, and some people are really, really empathetic and emotional. So hearing about, mass deaths or something can really affect your energetic state of being.
Yes, it's true. I think we each have to find what it is for us, because for me, if I see a single post about animal cruelty, for example, that can shut me down into despair for hours, sometimes days, sometimes longer. Is that a good use? Do I really need to know about that particular case or this situation? No. I do think we have a responsibility to be informed. I also think we have an equal responsibility to choose who's informing us, because mainstream media might not be the place that you want to get your accurate information. It's not where I want to. So there are certain, like, journalists that I follow who I feel do an excellent job of simply presenting factual information without the sensationalism that gets all of us riled up, activated, and leaves us completely useless, essentially. So yeah, I think the extent to which you educate yourself is unique to what you need. You will know what is right for you. And watch for that tipping point, because it doesn't take much to send those of us who identify as empathic down a very slippery slope where we have to claw our way back out. That's not necessary. But that happens to me with some frequency, because it's algorithms, and we don't choose what it is that we're going to see on social media. That's chosen for us by others who have different desires. So we have a responsibility to be very careful and mindful about where we get our information. And of course, we always have a responsibility to do the inner work so that we are and can continue to carry the light that we are here to share.
Yes, it's really actually unfortunate that the algorithms seem to have understood that what keeps people on the platform the longest is drama
Mm-hmm.
and things that are really divisive, and make us, put us against each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's just always what keeps people on the platform the longest, and they want you to stay on the platform so they can put more ads in your face. It's a really sad vicious cycle, and yeah, it's rather unfortunate. So I definitely love that answer, and yeah, for the audience, just figure out what's the best balance for you,
Mhm.
because if you're absorbing a whole lot of negative stuff all the time, it's not going to be beneficial for your health. In general, staying on social media for a long period of time is not good for your
No,
health anyway.
no,
So a lot of us
exactly.
could probably stand to use it a lot less. I
Yeah.
usually, yeah,
Taking regular breaks is actually really a good idea. When you've been in it for a while, you do not recognize just how off you are. It's insidious like that. It can be
yeah,
a subtle degradation of your inner peace.
yeah,
So taking breaks from it, literally for a week if you can, or only going on there, like for me, because I run a business, I might have to use it. For you and your platform, you have to use it. That's fine, but just go in there and do that, and then come back out and go hug a tree.
yes, yes, exactly, yes, yeah, yeah, very much so. Um, I have a question actually about past lives.
Mhm.
How much of that has to do with who we are and how we currently are living? How much of that influence affects us currently? Are there things that we have to work out to progress, or that seems to be a recurring question that I get from people, is how much of an influence does that happen?
I think it's significant for most of us. It doesn't mean that you have to know or understand your past lives in order to grow. I don't think that's the case, but it sure is fascinating to channel that. I have a lot of clients who will say, this is what I'm struggling with. I wonder if there's something in my past life that is affecting it. And so I channel from their higher self, and I will see a lifetime where that was an issue, or ongoing lifetimes where that was an issue. And sometimes just knowing that that thread has followed us through our various incarnations is enough for us to decide, okay, I'm willing to release this. I'm willing to um, not be so mired down by this particular pattern, because I understand it now. It came from this perspective, or from this relationship, or from this need. So I find it's going to influence how we are, but it doesn't have to stop us from achieving what we're here to achieve.
Yeah, yeah, that seems to have been the thing that I've come across the most often, in that people who've had that spiritual awakening. I guess I'm thinking like of a friend in particular where she worked with a hypnotherapist to
Mm-hmm.
clear some past life issues, and it's actually really beautiful to see her journey of not not being like super into spirituality to the complete just like all in spiritual coach, tarot, doing all the stuff. So it's
Wow.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing to observe, honestly. But yeah, to become aware that there are those things that are influencing you on a level that you're not quite aware of, and then to go deeper to see, oh, this is a past life issue. It has definitely been a reoccurring thing that I've saw.
Yeah, that's really beneficial. I'm a big fan of hypnotherapy. I've had some great experiences personally with it that have informed me and given me more power to choose the direction I want to go in, or what I choose to believe now. And it can be for past life stuff, but also in hypnotherapy, I have learned things from this lifetime that I'd forgotten. Experiences that I've had that have negatively affected me and gotten in the way of me having a particular experience or way of being, and then remembering, oh, that's right, that happened when I was a child. I see. I can heal that now. I can have a new narrative around that and move forward.
Yes, those are really powerful. I'm also a certified hypnotist, so if anyone want to know what that exact thing is called, it's called age regression. So there's past life regression where you go to a past life, and then there's age regression where you go to your early childhood to recall memories that you might have either subconsciously suppressed or just completely forgot about. Because I mean, it's really easy to forget childhood memories.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Oh, and I want
but
to encourage everybody to schedule with you for that because I just think it's a brilliant modality for healing.
yeah, it really is. It's fantastic. I definitely remember getting some clearings done for myself with some of my past lives, and my biggest one was a lot of grief around Atlantis.
Mhm.
That once I was like digging deep into that one, that really was like like a thorn in my heart because
Mhm.
after I was like viewing islands sinking or something around sinking and me being in the water and just feeling an overwhelming amount of grief that an entire civilization is going to be lost, and there were things that could have been done to prevent it, but because there was such emphasis on freedom of expression
Mhm.
to a fault, that I was just like, this shouldn't have happened. But I mean, naturally things happen for a reason,
Yeah.
so
Wow. That's a powerful memory or connection to have made. Yeah.
yeah. And that seems to have been a reoccurring pattern for me of bringing ideas and thoughts that are alternative, and then being executed for it
Mhm.
reoccurringly. And I had to go through some things with that to like let go of the fear of expression, because I was like, it's safe this time, it's free,
Mhm.
as they're more open-minded, you're not gonna get killed for this. Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot less fear, like it might seem like a lot of fear because of the media, but like the time period that we're in now has it's so different from the past. Like, it's
Yeah.
so different, like you can speak your mind and not be killed because you're going against the king or the queen or
Yeah.
whatever, like whatever the consensus is. So yeah,
That's a
that's
common, I think that is what holds a lot of people back from channeling, from connecting to their spirituality, is feeling or knowing or sensing that there was a time where they did that and they were annihilated for it. I mean, this comes through in a good number of sessions actually for me with a lot of women clients, who are accessing their intuition and really looking to express more of that. There is this big fear that, am I safe? Will I be buried for this, killed for this, burned for this? So that it's a very real thing. And yes, we are in a different time now, thankfully, and there is space, and there's a whole lot more of us that are coming through, opening up, presenting ourselves, showing up with courage so we're not alone. But there are some very real things to be concerned about as well. It's not totally safe across the board. I mean, just go to social media and you can see that.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. What are some things that people can do to open up more to that, to have less fear? Like, naturally they can do hypnotherapy and stuff like that, but are there some things that they can do within themselves to create that space and security and safety to have that freedom of expression, to share that aspect of themselves more?
I think we find that in community with others. I really think I would encourage anyone who is in the exploration of this and looking for ways to feel safe and supported to find your tribe, find your community. Sometimes you have to try a few before you feel the ones that have the vibration that resonates with you, and that's fine. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It just means you haven't found it yet. But we do a lot better when we are connected to each other. Then what I share as my deepest, darkest fear isn't me alone. It's me sharing it with someone who says, yeah, me too. I am afraid of that too. Let's do it anyway. Let's move towards that. The indigenous people in the rainforest where I went, they have a saying about touching the jaguar. Jaguar is a very powerful animal, and they believe you move towards your fears not run away from them. And if you can get close enough to touch the jaguar, touch your fear, then that's encouraged. So I think I would always want people to not feel alone, first of all, because when we feel supported, we're willing to take more risks. We're willing to self discover with a more open heart. When we are alone and by ourselves and isolated, that's not usually the case. Then that's when a whole lot of self doubt creeps in, and insecurity and storytelling that's not even true anymore. So I would say find your group, engage with them regularly, read books that are fascinating to you, and find the other people that are reading the same material. Get mentors. I have just loved having phenomenal mentors, and they've changed my life and the trajectory of my life. So that's what I would recommend.
Yes, I've been spending some time working on the concept of community and trying to figure out how to make one with what I'm creating here, and to like gather people and bring people together, because we very much live in a fragmented society, but we have the benefit of technology, so we have the capability of communicating more now than ever. But it's always so interesting to me to see the researchers, what they're saying, that people in the age of technology, people feel more alone now more than ever, which is really fascinating to me, how we could instantly communicate with people, and yet people feel more alone more
Mhm.
than ever. So there's definitely something to be done there to bring people together, to nurture them, and bring a sense of community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see us having that more in the future, or we kind of integrate community more, like where we it doesn't necessarily have to be like an Atlantean type of society, but where we have a greater emphasis on human connection, and you know getting back to the basics of like what they're doing in the uh South America, where they probably grow their own food and stuff, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm seeing, I mean, we will see whatever we're looking for.
that's true.
That's what I believe. So, what
That's
I'm
true.
looking for right now that I am seeing is how other people are living living in harmony with the land, creating smaller farms. I'm a big fan of like animal rescue. So how they're bringing in animals and healing the hearts and bodies of those animals and each other, because when we heal another, we also heal aspects of ourselves, I believe. And so that's what I've got my eye trained on right now. And yeah, there's everywhere I want to look, I can find these beautiful people who are starting communal farms or communal ways of living, or um, family farms, and just growing to share with their immediate surroundings, their immediate community. There's not this big agriculture kind of feel. There's understanding how the land really does thrive. It's not through monoculture, through planting one type of crop. It's through lots of different types of plants and harvesting, and different methods of harvesting. So do I think this can exist? I know it can. I'm already watching it happen. Is it to the scale that I want? No, not yet. But I'm impatient and I need to work on that. But I see it, and I know that we can live in a way that is with care and reciprocity with the land, with the animals, with each other. I know this. It's happening. I see it. I talk to people who are doing it. It inspires me, and that's eventually what I will be either participating in, or also creating.
Yes, I love that. Participation and creation. Yes. This question came to me like randomly, I guess, like in an intuitive download type of fashion. How will AI affect our future? How does that affect the trajectory?
I don't know. I guess we'll see how responsible we choose to be with it. I think that's everything depends on that.
It really does, because as I do like meditation, sometimes I kind of just see like two different potential realities. One where we kind of go this transhumanism thing where we have this a lot of integration with technology and artificial intelligence, and another where we just go back to, you know, being understanding what life is about, biology, human connections, souls, and stuff. So I'm always interested in what that potential looks like because it continues to progress at a rapid rate
Hmm.
year over year that is honestly really startling to see someone to be able to create an entire video just by typing in words, a video that's not even real. It's yeah,
Yeah.
it makes me a bit concerned for what type of propaganda and false flag type of stuff that could be happening to control and manipulate people's perception of reality.
Yeah, that's where we have to stay awake and choose the sources of our information very carefully and check facts. I mean, we cannot just assume that because we saw the image or we saw the person saying it or whatever that it is true. We have to expend the energy to dig deeper or do what I do and just follow those who are doing, who are reporting on factual information in a non-biased way. And they're out there, and then it's really a relief for me because then I don't have to get my news any other place, except for these few that I would necessarily, trust to be reporting on what's what. Sometimes I have to say it out loud, like, don't watch that. Wait until the end of the day when this journalist reports or sends out her report on things that are happening in the news, because then I can read it with a more neutral heart, which I think, and neutral mind, which I think is more helpful.
Yeah, I agree. We're definitely gonna have to do a good job in the coming future of deciphering, you know, what to pay attention to and fact checking things. And that's definitely difficult in the age where people just read headlines and then
Yeah.
immediately share it. You know, it's just like, did you read the article? No, it says it in the headline. Well, that
Right.
could be sensationalized just to get you to
Yeah.
share it. So
And it often
that's
is.
it very often is. That's they're incentivized to make it that way so you can share it and they can it's all about the money in the end. It's really yeah, it's really something else. Anyways, so we reached the top of the hour, and these are the questions that I like to ask all of my guests. What does love mean to you?
Hmm. Love is a state of being and receiving where the we can trust the intention, the vibration, the clarity, the quality of what is being shown to us.
Yes, yes. And what does the sun represent to you? The one in the sky. I've been having
Mm.
to say the one in the sky because
Yeah.
people would sometimes think like Jesus Christ. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I was like
He's cool
the
too.
sun up there. Yeah.
Um, well, as one who came into my gardening life later, the sun represents to me food, plants, thriving, growth, warmth. Yeah, just everything necessary for the sustaining and thriving of life.
Yes, I love that. And I have a very unique question specifically for you. What do animals represent to you? We've talked about that often. So what does I feel like that would be a good one. What do animals represent to
Yeah,
you?
yes. So for me, animals are the purest, loving, embodied energy. And I know with my dogs on a daily basis, I receive so much inflow of unconditional love from them and healing from them. And when humans live in harmony with animals, whether it's domestic animals or wildlife, um, I know we will see a transformation, a complete transformation. Right now, there's a lot of separation, and that's very sad because then that leads humans to behave in certain ways that are destructive to animals, as an example. But animals to me represent the most joyful, loving, beautiful energy. I just cannot not smile when I talk about animals.
I had a feeling it would be like that. Yes, you certainly light up when you talk about them. Do you just have dogs?
Right now, I only have 4 dogs, but like I said, I've got my eye on living on a small homestead and rescuing all sorts of animals and having people be part of that community and live on site if they want to, or just be in community with me, sharing meals, loving on the animals. Yeah, it's a vision that I know will come true.
Please add me to the list. I am +1 for that. I would love
Awesome.
that too. That is my envisioned reality. So keep me in mind.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think about it all the time.
Yes.
I think about it all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Well, good. I will. I have a list. I'm putting your name on it.
Oh, great.
It just has an
Great.
energy and manifestation power to it. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yes. Thank you so much. Do you have any parting words for the audience? Anything that you would like to share with them?
I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered what I wanted to share from my heart.
Awesome. Thank you. Is there, where can people reach out to you when if they want to connect with you?
They can go to my website, soulinsight.com. I'm also on social media, but since I'm recommending you take a break from it, I won't even tell you where to find me on social media.
Yes. That works too. That works too. I love it. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. That's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Stephanie. You're a joy. And I will see you all next one. Praise the sun.
Thank you, Sage.